football was indeed real this week, and fans have been asking questions they have probably not asked all year long. Losing to Columbus isn't entirely why, though. That series was split this year. No, I think it's a combination of events leading through Leagues Cup and into the match versus Columbus. We all hoped the club would come out of the break, I know I did, a little bit healthier, and yet here they were still missing pieces. The depth just isn't pulling through as much as it was at the top of the year, and fans are growing more concerned with the center back play. Add all that on top of the fact that the offense is starting to sputter, and there's a lot to be concerned about. So I'm excited about tonight and figure out if it's all in my head or if these guys have their own opinions. Is everything falling apart? Is everything fine? It's gonna be a good one. FC Cincinnati is still top of the table. Yes, they have room even to hiccup. But you and I probably have a little bit of a right to be concerned, and Pat Noonan's going to have to quell some of those fears this week. We're going to dive into that this episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We also have a guest from Miami swinging by to chat about Wednesday's U.S. Open Cup final. There is no break for Cincy after that tough loss this weekend. Nope, they need to figure out what went horribly wrong and quick, because Miami is totally reloaded with the Messi squad coming to town. Both teams have short weeks, but man, it looks tough for the orange and blue. Let's get some clarity in here, though, from my co-hosts. First, we will welcome back into the show our orange and blue representative from the Hoosier State. Welcome in, Brian.
Yeah, hey, we talked about this game a few weeks ago going in, and I really thought we were coming away with the draw. These games always go 2-2. And someone usually comes out a winner, or we end up drawing right there. I really thought, I don't know how to feel, man. I don't know how to feel. We were a little shaky this week, but our loss to Nashville right before this, I came out and I was mourning a little bit still. And so I got my orange and blue back on, ready for Miami. We're putting the past behind us and moving forward.
All right. Well, good to hear you, man. Next, we'll get Jason in here. I am really looking forward to his no-hold-back takes tonight.
Hold on. There we go. Thank you. Since we're writing stuff down, I got a little math for the crew fans, if you can see this. 1 = 1. That's what happens when one team wins a game and then the other team wins the game. It means that the season series is split. And that's how it works. So we will maybe have a rubber match in the playoffs, but Ohio is, I guess it's poop brown right now. If you mix orange and blue, black and gold together,
Jason, all the elected representatives up in Columbus can't do math right, so that would extend to all their constituents in that dumb area.
True, and I know that they are the most special group of little soccer fans up there that. You can't criticize them. You can't point out things about them. You can't point out the fact that were it not for Art Modell, they would not have a club without them getting their fifis hurt. But the series was split, guys. 1-1.
Inch deep, mile long.
Well, I didn't see that coming, but good to have you, Jason. We appreciate it.
Coming in hard today, guys.
Next, the guy who's been holding up marker boards while I've been speaking, fresh off his month-long vacation. I think he was in Florida so long, Disney made him an honorary princess. Welcome back, friend.
That was pretty good. Yeah. What's the one from Brave, the redhead? We were trying to figure that out the whole trip. Thank you. So, Boston, I was about to go out into my garage and get you one of my kids' pool floaties since you're jumping ship right now, and ye have little faith. So, dude, I'll tell you what, y'all need to take a damn chill pill. Like, seriously, go get a messy-faced Buskin cookie right now. So, okay, I am the prophet. I might not be the prophet. I know Andrew Wiebe says, he's the Pope of Messi is good for this league, church.com. I'd say I'm like probably a deacon or something. But Buskin Cookies putting Messi's face and selling that in the city of Cincinnati is questioning my deep faith that he is actually good for this league. So
if you make a busk boy out of the Messi cookies, is that a curse? Like, because you're kind of destroying his face.
I have a proposal. I think we need to do that, but Opie has to eat it, and then it'll reverse the curse. That's what'll happen.
Okay, I think we can. We'll get on that. We'll talk to the OP's representatives.
Let's do it.
Goodness gracious! I did Buskin cookies, of course. They would. They'll ride on any train they can get on. Before we get into your best and worst, I just want to remind everybody that Apollo Home is an amazing sponsor of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and they have an August back to school special for you, offering $38 HVAC cooling tune-up special. Get your AC checked out before the end of the summer, and go ahead and call them next month too, and get your heating system before the winter shows up. So you can give them a dial or visit apollohome.com and schedule that appointment. We appreciate all they do for the show. And let's get into your best and worst. Brian Weigel, we'll start with you, sir.
All right, best and worst. I will say this is probably technically a worst, but the best for me was how Columbus set themselves up to beat FC Cincinnati. I think there is a method to beating us that is attacking our defense, running our defense fast, getting our midfielders to backtrack, and if they turn the ball over, there's a huge gap there, and they can snuff out our attacking 2 or 3. I thought they did very well limiting our chances, and I think we were outcoached for the first time this year. I really think we're outcoached. I think we should have done a little bit more direct play than we tried to do. I just, how many times have you seen Pat Noonan get beat? So got to throw it over to those guys. And I know it stinks to say that, but yeah, we're absolutely outcoached for this match. The worst of the week. How many times have you seen FC Cincinnati lose composure, not battle back, not give that extra oomph to see out a game or get into it? I never had that extra little bit of something to see out of these guys. And I don't question their effort. I thought Bupenza was running his tail off. Sergio Santos, even look at that third goal. Like, that dude tracked back all the way into like the 6. I mean, he was digging. So there was guys out there, but I just overall, I didn't feel like there's that cohesiveness throughout the whole team, just that same mindset and ability to stay calm. So that was just shocking to me. You even saw a little bit on the sidelines, Kenny Arena yelling at the ref. You saw Pat Noonan getting into it. It's tough with Ted Uncle, but I mean, I think that to me is where I think just mentally I was surprised that we weren't in the game more.
That's a good point. I know exactly what you mean. It just felt like something was missing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Some of your guys' best and worst. Gator Zone on YouTube. Best, Santos's glorious main. Worst, the real estate in FCC's midfield was coming cheap Sunday. Yeah, what was with all those interceptions? I know kind of can feel that. All right, Jason, you're up.
My best for the week. Kudos to all the FCC fans that made the trip up to Columbus. I could hear you on TV. You sounded great. I think it's great. That's one of the things that I really love about American soccer is the traveling fans. You don't see that as much, I think, in other sports, mainly because other fan bases and like baseball and stuff aren't as organized. So you don't have baseball supporter sections. But you guys sounded great, and you deserve a lot of credit for bringing it on yesterday. Worst, I think it shows now that this might have been a rare miss by Chris Albright during the transfer window. Not that Aaron Bupenza was a bad pickup. I think he was a good pickup. I think we should still have gotten another center back. Our back line was Ray Gaddis, Nick Haglund, Alvis Powell. I mean, that is just because of Miazga being out and Yerson Mosquera being out. That lack of depth came back to bite us in the butt on Sunday. And you can't tell me that when Columbus was able to bring in a center back on top of bringing in another designated player, and the fact that we have USL out there, you could not have gone out and gotten somebody in the transfer window to at least fill in for the rest of the season. I think that if we're going to finish out the season with a supporter shield, it is going to be in spite of our lack of depth at center back, because that is a glaring issue, and it was just brought to the fore yesterday.
Yeah, I want to dive into Powell a little bit later because yikes! I mean, Guy just signed a contract extension.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the curse of the contract? Oh, we'll get into it later. All right, Brian, you're up.
Yeah, man, my best was just FCC's back on the pitch. It was a shell of themselves, but it's something I can set my clock to every week, that I can sit in front of my TV and watch the games that I was missing the last couple. So that was good. The game was not. My worst was just the obvious lack of chemistry amidst our front three. From the get-go, Bupenza's yelling at Lucho for not passing the ball. Brandon Vasquez is getting frustrated. Lucho's screaming back at him. Like there's something off between those three in this game. I think they'll work it out. I hope they work it out. But it was just really, really obvious, not just in their play, but in their interactions with one another, that something just wasn't clicking this week.
That's a good take. Yeah, you saw a lot of passes to no one. Bupenza, off the top of my head, Bupenza had one that was mind-blowingly weird, where he crossed it all the way across the field expecting a right back that never was there.
Yep.
So
it seemed like a team that obviously it had some time off, but a team that hadn't played together all season. Like the vibes were really off yesterday from like the front three, the back three, everybody just kind of seemed like they just weren't feeling it, and it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, one of the things I was nervous about going in was overlooking this game to Miami, and maybe that was a little bit there. We had the time off, but yeah, whatever it was bad. It was rough.
Yeah. My best connecting with fans in Columbus. Took the trip again this year. Josh Sabers, though, hits on a little bit of my worst in his comment on YouTube. Having to wait another year to finally beat the Crew at their field. This hits home for me, Josh, because I go to this match every single year. And yeah, it's nice that we're doing a lot better at home. Hell is real. We won this year, and it's all fine and dandy. But it would just be nice to beat them at their house. I don't think it's happened. So we drew back in the day in Columbus before they changed stadiums. It would be nice just to get one of that elusive win. Oh man!
If we meet in the playoffs, because they're doing that weird, one game, like 3-game series. Yeah,
forgot about that. Yeah.
So we might have a chance to get a win up at lower.com field.
But then 2 of them would be here, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, yeah. If it's that early group stage thing. The other worst I had was this guy. I don't know if I doubt it made the television. Before the game, like 10 minutes before, Columbus breaks out a band in the corner of their stadium. There's a drummer, guitarists, and they start singing some rock song, and Columbus puts on like some kind of Hell is Real montage to it. But even the Nordecki kind of was like, hey, let us do our thing. Like it's the weird thing, because Columbus has always had like a pretty I won't say united, but a strong like supporter group where they have they have good tifos usually, and normally they're the ones making the noise, doing the things. It was weird to see like the show stolen from them a little bit with the band, and then 3 minutes before the game, you think that's over, and it was weird. It was real weird. You think that's over, and then the band does like the song that they sometimes sing when they win a game. They do it again. They do like open the match with that again. So it's like, I think Columbus was like, hey, we already got this band out here. Let's get our money's worth, and we'll just have them play a whole concert before the game.
That band was the Welshly Arms.
Was it?
And the song is called Legendary. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm a huge dork. And Welshly Arms. So if you're like me and you loved Saturday Night Live back in like the 90s, early 2000s, there is this sketch that Will Ferrell and Rachel Dratch do where they're like these weird like professors who love each other and call each other lover. And the hotel that they're at is always the Welshly Arms. So look it up. There's a sketch where they're in where they are in a hot tub, and it is hilarious. It is great. Yes, I'm a dork. Freely admit it.
That's an interesting trivia. I did not know the name. I'm sure it was like on their drum or something, but I was all the way in the opposite corner. I just found it interesting because they wear yellow. Someone on in YouTube just said this. It did feel like Nashville because Nashville always does like the guitar weird opening stuff. For a second, I did think I was in Nashville, which is interesting because Columbus always says Nashville steals their stuff. And for a moment, it was like, no, you guys are Nashville now. All right, well, let's switch gears. We're gonna before we dive into the rest of the Hell Is Real stuff, we want to talk about Miami. We have an amazing guest we're gonna bring in. I'll let Brian do the introduction because this is a throwback. I think he appreciates more than anyone.
Yes, this is my dude. So if you guys have followed us, I'm sure y'all followed us back in the USL days. We were fortunate enough to play Miami under interesting circumstances back then in the U.S. Open Cup in our second year of existence. And I got to meet this great man joining us tonight, Omar Mubayed, huge Miami guy. He followed when it was Miami FC in NASL, USL, and now he covers Lionel Messi in Inter Miami now in Major League Soccer. So, Omar, how you doing, my man? Magic City Soccer back at it.
Magic City Soccer is back, and it only took the world's best player to get us out of hiatus, and me having to get my bar card from the state of Florida. It's been a crazy last 3 years. Who would have thunk that it's been 6 years since that Miami FC Cincinnati Open Cup match? Holy cow! Has it been 6 years?
I still look at the sky and thank it for rain because I don't know if we'd have won that first one, but the delay really.
No, I'm gonna go with you. Wouldn't have. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Like I still harken back. There's a few of us that we were actually talking this morning because the guys are recording a podcast tonight as we speak, and it's going to be released tomorrow. And we were talking about that match and thinking if it wasn't for the rain out. But there's the thing in South Florida where every time we have a premier game, doesn't matter what the game is, right? And you saw, and same thing happened with Messi's unveiling maybe a month or so ago. It's a downpour. It's an absolute downpour, and it just always happens. And welcome to Florida in the summer.
Well, it's going to be hot as can be up here Wednesday night for this U.S. Open Cup match. So you guys are ready for that. But it's kind of interesting how we're playing Inter Miami when like they're kind of looked at as a super team. We played Miami FC when they were a super team with our buddy Mike LaHood, Richie Ryan. You guys had some pretty crazy stuff. So how was that Leagues Cup run with all these new additions? What's been the vibe down there around the club?
So everybody's on cloud nine, and I think that's the best way to describe it because even though the rumblings were there right around the World Cup in Qatar, even personally with myself, I'm looking at my wife, I'm studying for the bar exam, and I'm like, I think I'm going to get tickets. And she's like, you're not working. Don't do that. That's dumb. You're going to buy a ticket. He's not going to come, right? Lo and behold, 6 months later, guess who's on our front door, right? Yeah. Or in our backyard, I should say. And it's crazy. Everything's on cloud nine here. And I think one of the things that I personally didn't expect was kind of Messi to be the first domino to fall to now seeing all the subsequent transfers happen in the background, right? Because even Busquets was kind of rumored as well, and we weren't sure, and I don't know, and everybody kept their eye on the Messi prize. And now with Jordi Alba looking in the back, and it's like you watch those three play together, and it's unreal. I literally popped in and out of the Zoom a few minutes ago where the guys were recording, and I said, it is like someone dropped the world's best player in FIFA and put him in MLS. What did you think was going to happen? It's a cheat code. It is a cheat code. It's up, down, left, right, starts like the AB. It's what it is.
So what has changed? I mean, I know you've had a lot of new players, but outside of Messi, Busquets, Alba, what's changed with the on-field product, the playing style? I mean, Joseph Martinez seems to be clicking. Yedlin's getting into good form. What's it been like? What's the differences?
I think you're seeing stark differences from the way Neville wanted the club to be operated and what his tactics were. And now you're seeing a different shift in that element with Tata Martino now at the helm. But the problem is that it all goes back to number 10, because I think number 10 hides a lot of problems that still appear with Inter Miami. And one of the main problems, and it's not a surprise to anybody who covers the club, right? It's the backline's an issue. It's Arroyo is a problem. Dixon Arroyo is constantly an issue. It's you're trying to plug for all of the holes that you have, and Messi does a lot of plugging. But even then, when you look at their strongest buildup in play, what is it? It's a clearance from the back line. It ends up at Busquets. Busquets throws the ball either diagonally or finds Messi in space, and then he takes off. And then after that, there's some kind of run on the wing, whether it's Yedlin overlapping him on the right side, or whether it's Robert Taylor becoming, I don't know, all of a sudden a superstar in MLS. Like nobody thought that was going to happen 6 months ago, right? Finnish national Robert Taylor, all of a sudden popping off. This is crazy, right? And you mentioned Joseph Martinez, and Joseph Martinez is probably still leaving a lot to be desired from what Inter Miami fans were expecting to get. He's not the same Joseph Martinez from pre-COVID Atlanta United. That's not what they've gotten him so far.
Omar, one of the things that surprised me with Messi is just how many minutes he's played. He's starting games, playing through, the entirety of games for the most part. Do you think? Obviously, I think the answer is yes. But do you think we're going to see him on Wednesday go the full 90, full, possibly 120 into PKs?
So, yeah, I think the short answer is yes, right? And for me personally, you need to understand that, my butter.
Oh, did we lose him?
Oh no.
Well, let's see if we can get Omar back here. I think his internet connection is just.
Somebody tell me if you can't hear me. Did you lose me there for a second?
There you go. We're good
now.
Yeah, we're doing it live. All of a sudden, I got spinning wheels of death, and I was like, "Oh, great, here we go." As I was saying, my connection with Miami FC is still very strong, and I think, with respect to Inter Miami, the League's Cup. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to try to put it gently. I think the League's Cup was created to provide the North American top tiers, right? Liga MX and MLS with an extra incentive to get into CONCACAF Champions League. Where before, as we all know, there was 2 or 3 spots only available through, US Open Cup, Supporter Shield, and the MLS Cup, right? And I think this is not only is that tournament expanding in furtherance of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup that we're going to be hosting here in the United States. But on top of it, what it does is it allows now that tournament to bring more teams into the mix, create more money. At the end of the day, to me, regardless, the League's Cup is a fantastic achievement. You had to run a gauntlet. You had to win a bunch of games to get there. And for the most part, except for FC Dallas, they made it look rather easy. Let's not kid ourselves on that one, right? It's an exhibition series. It's a glorified exhibition series, right? It doesn't mean anything. I think Wednesday is the first match that has some kind of significant weight for me, personally, because this is the oldest tournament in the U.S. history, and I think this one means more. And I think at this point, Inter Miami is sitting about 12 games left in the season, about 12 points out of a playoff spot, more now considering this weekend's fixtures. This is really your chance to get a double, quote unquote, right? And then this is the best shot they have. So yeah, I think Messi's ready to go. I think the club is ready to go, and I think you can expect to see him there the length of everybody else. I don't think the question though is what's Messi's fitness like. I think the question is going to be is what does that back line look like?
Well, we I think all in Cincinnati hope you continue to have that back line that struggles because the front is so good. You're not allowed to have a good back line. I'm sorry. It's just you need a weakness. It's you already got the rest of Major League Soccer complaining about how on earth your salary cap structure works and yada yada yada. So.
Listen, what is the inadvertent nod? Yeah, to continue.
But no, I think it's an interesting. Brian's been on this show every week telling us that he thinks it will raise the bar around MLS. What's your take on that? Do you think we're going to start seeing a couple bigger transfers? Because honestly, if Messi's going to be in this league for the next couple of years, teams like FC Cincinnati, LAFC, teams that want to be good and have owners that want to spend are probably going to have to go dig a little bit deeper in their pockets, won't they?
One of the things that I said on a previous episode of Magic City Soccer, and I'm sorry to keep plugging that for you guys, so sorry about that. Like, what is it? Like, rate, subscribe, right? No. it would be really funny to me if Messi's ultimate legacy in North American soccer is the shattering of the MLS salary cap structure. And I think that's one of the unwritten parts and something that a lot of people aren't focusing on that can very genuinely kind of be the issue here, right? It's how do we figure out how to get MLS away from Tam, Gam, Fam, Dam, Sam and into the modern market. And this is not a conversation about pro rel, but it's a conversation of allowing the owners who want to spend money the ability to do so and see where it goes. Now, what happens there, right? You're going to see what you're going to have in Europe. You're going to see a group of teams at the top, and you're going to see everybody else fighting for mid-table. And where does that get you in MLS? I don't know, right? That's going to be kind of the next question if that system were to shatter. But I think that's really the big thing is Messi's legacy going to be the guy who destroyed the MLS salary cap structure? And I think it would be for the better. Do I think there's going to be bigger signings down the road? I think there has to be. But then again, there already have been, right? Zlatan was a humongous signing for LA Galaxy. What, 15 years ago, David Beckham with LA Galaxy, right? So I think the question is going to be is who are those guys are going to come? And then it's going to be the competition of what's going on with Saudi Arabia. Is Saudi Arabia going to continuously be able to pull off what they're pulling off now with their unlimited resources?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. It's been a wild couple months. I know we had a couple Apple guys on here. We're like, yeah, what would it be like to have Messi around? So, just give us the final vibes, man. Are you seeing pink jerseys and the flamingo or herons? Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Are you seeing that down in Fort Lauderdale and Miami every day? I mean, is it the thing right now?
Yeah, it's the thing. You cannot find, and I think this was something that I noticed very early. When Messi was signed, you had a window on even the Fanatics website, right, where everybody, for the most part, across the country, buys their merchandise now. They pretty much cornered the market on memorabilia and cornered the market on jerseys and whatnot. And you had about a 2 or 3 day window to buy a jersey and be able to grab a jersey without it being nameplated or put under a 3-month pre-order, right? Other than that, you had to go in the local shops in the area and be able to try to grab them. Why? My conversations with them has been that everything's been on hold because they need to create so many Messi number 10 nameplates to stick on the back of these shirts that they had to put a stop on all sales because they didn't want counterfeit ones to start entering the market, right? So what did I do? I went to a local sporting goods store. I found myself a pink Miami Heartbeat replica jersey. I went to then another soccer store in the area who had them, right? And I slapped the Messi and number 10 on the back. It's amazing how much it's really changed because Inter Miami, since their inception, has done a good job of kind of keeping people in tune with MLS and keeping people in gear with what's going on locally in soccer. They've done a really good job at it. And I think this brings it to the next level. The only question becomes is when Messi goes, what's left behind? Do people stick with it, or has the sun kind of gone down on the experiment and now it's just waiting for the next superstar to plug and play?
Mm-hmm. Is this the Open Cup final for real? Is this the final? Because the Western Conference game seems like meh.
I don't know, man. I'm hoping Houston wins over there, though. Let's be honest here. If Houston wins and either you guys or ourselves get to host, I mean, there's already conversations. And again, I don't know whether or not it's conjecture or rumors or all just fluff that, the game gets moved from Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale to Hard Rock Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And now all of a sudden, we go from a 20,000 seat stadium to a 55,000 plus seat stadium for the U.S. Open Cup Championships. Do they sell it out? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do they need to bring the ticket prices down? Yeah, right. It can't be a Leagues Cup disaster that we had. I think a buddy of ours had Nashville tickets, and 50% of the stadium was on resale at Ticketmaster the day before the game.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's possible. I think it's possible. But again, it would be very interesting to see what happens. And I think Wednesday is going to be telling. I just kind of sucks that both games are on at the same night. That's the only thing I'm upset about. I wish there was a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, so that we can get, kind of spread the Open Cup out a little bit longer and go from there.
I think we all wish our game was on Thursday just for a little bit more legs, right?
I mean, Inter Miami finished up Saturday night too, and super late as well in Nashville. It wasn't an early one. It went freaking down to goalie wars, man.
Yeah. That was
y'all looked a lot fresher than we did, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, they never took time off. We came back and forgot how to play soccer. Apparently,
You guys remember 2017? That's exactly what happened. We had a mid-break in NASL's window. You guys had that lucky rain delay, and then all of a sudden, Miami FC left a poopy in the bed, for lack of better words, for language I don't want to go into.
Yeah, we're. I think everybody in Cincinnati is. It just shocked us. I don't know if you got to watch any of the Columbus game we were talking about earlier, but we were expecting to come back healthy from the break, and we still had the similar injuries. Miazga missed because of a yellow card suspension, and it just left a lot of questions. I think we don't know. We don't really know if we're going to come out Wednesday rocking or if we're in a slump. So it's going to be interesting for all of us.
I know you guys got to transition over to your next segment, but I will say Miazga left a lot to be desired in the Gold Cup. That's one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know how you guys felt about it. I'm sure you guys have talked about it in the past, but Miazga, to me, felt a lot to be desired, and it kind of showed that he's been surpassed, at least on the U.S. men's national team depth chart, in my personal opinion. But, as an outsider looking in, those Columbus-Cincinnati games are always a fun one to watch.
Mhm.
I missed this last one. Got an 18-month-old, right? But it is one of those things where, those games are always tight. They're always fun to watch. And even when they're one-sided, you can tell that both teams are invested and chalk it up to a dominant performance one way or the other. But it is interesting. It'll be interesting to see kind of how Cincinnati does rebound, with a shorter-ish turnaround. Knowing that, but you know what? There has to be an extra get up in your step on Wednesday morning. There has to be, right? You know that Messi's coming into your city. You know what's on the table. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And the one player I'm really interested to see how he does is Brandon Vasquez. I think Brandon Vasquez, for you guys, can cause a lot of problems on the back line. Obviously, I'm familiar with him, watching him a lot with the U.S. men's national team over the summer. I think he could be an issue. And I think if the service is good over the top, like what we saw in the FC Dallas game, it can cause problems for the Inter Miami backline.
All right. Well, we appreciate your takes, Omar. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. It's amazing the relationships you guys, we all make over, God, almost a decade now with this podcast.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, buddy. Keep in the DMs and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, keep it rolling. Let's make sure we all get credentialed for 2026. That's
there we
goal,
go.
Right? And then everything else can go to hell. Just get those credentials for the World Cup, and they all go to hell. Enjoy the
All right, see you, buddy.
Guys, have a great show.
See ya.
All right, that's Omar coming back to our show after a long hiatus. Magic City Soccer. That brings back the memories. Good old USL days. And yeah, no one thought we would beat them last time, and we did down in Miami. So maybe that's just a fortune cookie waiting to be opened.
Dude, I tell you what, when we beat them in Miami, I had to go to be rushed, or I had to rush a kid to the emergency room. So really hoping we can avoid that this time.
Hey, as long as we get the win, Brian, pay the price.
I did have a very nice note that night. Anybody knows that it was actually called out this week. Me and Alan Koch kind of had a little beef a little bit, but he actually wrote me a super nice note the night he found out that my daughter was rushed to the ER that night. And after the win, like literally that night, he wrote, "Hey man, I heard," like an hour after the game, he wrote me, I hope she's doing well. I'm like, I'll never forget that. So.
Yeah. Well, we got to get back into it. Let's talk a little bit more about
what have to.
Yeah, we do.
Can I go refill my drink first?
What went wrong in Columbus?
Drank too much already.
Everything went wrong in Columbus.
Yep.
Yeah, but look at the underlying numbers. Yes, 3-0. That's all that matters. But if you really look at this game, like it was like a non-penalty XG of 1.2 to 0.3. So it was a lot closer than 3-0. I think our spirit and our soul was just sucked out so early on.
That is one issue with this team that I've noticed is I think we've only had one game where we gave up a goal first and then came back to win or tie, maybe two. But not that we've lost a lot. But it does seem that it's very easy to get them out of a groove if you score early, especially on the road. If you get out and punch them in the mouth early, then it's really easy for the wheels to come off.
So, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I think it was obvious we were missing leadership on the back line too. I think someone that has some composure that can pull the team together. And I'm not saying the whole issue was our back line. Our central midfield was out of position a lot of times, but someone that can rally the troops together and calm people down, settle the game down. We were missing that. I think that was a big piece of it this week.
So in the back line, you'd have Mascara be able to hold up the ball for a couple minutes to get a deep breath. Miazga to move the ball around. Nobody was there to do that. I don't think Murphy played as bad of a game as some people think he did. I think there was some really strong moments there with Ian. But kind of to your point, we were never able to get a cohesive push up the field. Like Mo Edu even said, like, late in the first quarter, first half, finally Barrial's getting up the field, and then he makes the wrong decision. Sticky feet Lucho wasn't there. It was just top to bottom, couldn't get anything going, and it was a lot of half-assed strategy. Okay, are we going to press the back line? Oh, yeah. We picked the chance, but we really even weren't doing it then. And those front three who weren't cohesive offensively weren't cohesive doing that. You saw Vasquez trying to get him going. You saw Lucho trying to get Bopensa to put pressure up there. And so then they push up, huge gulf of space in the midfield. Aiden Morris, Nagby take 30 yards and then right on top of our defense. So I think it was just bad. I think it was bad from Noonan.
I think you touched on one of the things I noticed primarily. Columbus was the team that looked like we normally look, flying in the face, mixing the ball up, forcing turnovers, making players choose what they're going to do quickly, get the ball out. Columbus was the pressing team, and I think, granted, they're the home side, but they even after they had scored, they were not playing super defensive structure quite yet. They were still flying at our guys, pressing. And then we didn't turn I think one of the things that really bugged me is the ball gets passed back to their keeper and our players take 40 seconds to go to the keeper to make him pick the ball up at one point. Like, isn't
that the same keeper that we turned over twice the last game?
Yeah. That was the game winner in the last game, was getting him to turn it over.
And he was playing high and out of the box too, opening himself up for that pressure. And Boston, to your point, I think, why wouldn't Columbus press our back line, knowing that two of our starters are out, the two that can control the ball, control the tempo a little bit? Well, I think they did the right thing. And we obviously did not, just Lucho yelling at Bopensa how many times because he wasn't putting that pressure on the back line.
Columbus did a really good job of, and this may have been because the back line was so, held together by duct tape, but Columbus did a really good job, I think, of taking Barrial out of the game. He was a non-factor for a good chunk of the game. And that is somebody that we rely on, especially offensively. And there were times where, Lucho would get the ball, bring it forward, and he might have Bopensa and Vasquez with him, but Barrial is taking another 10 seconds to get up the pitch because Columbus is doing such a good job at, pressing and keeping him, pressured. So, that is something that not a lot of teams have been able to do. And I think that was one of the keys for them because they really took out one of our better offensive weapons.
Well, I got a question about that too, because as I was watching the game, Lucho and Barrial were not connecting like they normally do.
No.
And it looked like Columbus was pushing. The only space that Lucho could find was on the right side of the field. He wasn't next to Barrial very often to make those plays. So was it that Barrial was getting pressed and couldn't get up the field, or were they pushing Lucho to the right and that's the only space he had? Or was it a combination of both?
Anyone else want to take that? Because I'm not a
Brian, I have to watch the game again. God, I don't.
No one wants to rewatch that. I think it was a mixture of both. Because,
Coach,
yeah, they consistently attacked the weak side, which was Powell, but at the same time, they kept the ball in the Cincinnati third really high. So, it might have been a little bit of both. And when you're controlling the game that well, I don't know. It was just battle around. I want to forget that this ever happened.
So the first goal was a midfield fault, right? You had an open player not getting on his guy fast enough.
But at the same time, you had I'm trying to remember who scored it, but the guy from Columbus who scored.
Aiden Morris?
Aiden Morris. He was at the top of the box. There were three defenders, three FCC back defenders that looked like they could have gotten to it.
Oh, well, it's because Obi went to help. He dropped down and Moreno didn't move over.
Yeah.
But he was also guarding a guy. I mean, hell of a strike, but come on, Aiden Morris. That's
we do that
one
on
in
Wednesday.
1,000 times.
We do that on Wednesday. We lose 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but you're not gonna leave Messi or Busquets open like that. I don't think. Plus, I don't think they play as fast.
Yeah,
True, but Messi
can kick from any. You get on Messi. You have somebody just on Messi 24/7, and then you still need a second guy to be on Messi 24/7.
Messi scored with 4 guys in front of him. Let's be honest. This last
Obi Wobodo, let's go studs up.
Yep.
I'm joking. No, I don't. It's like I kind of want Obi to be tough, but it's also like God. If you get a yellow, then he doesn't get to play in the final. So.
I doubt Obi gets through Miami without a yellow, but it'd be cool.
There's no way. There's no way.
No.
I'm just excited to see how we match up. I mean, I think that this was an outlier. And if you look at the underlying stats, yes, the XG for us wasn't great, but we gave up the second worst XG for the year to these guys. But I mean, Columbus way outperformed their expected goals. Yes, the possession wasn't great, but we still had chances. Brandon could have probably finished his chance a little bit better. Bupenza still had 3 or 4 chances. It stagnated, but I mean, you're just going to have games like this. I mean, you really are. And when you're so wonky in that back line, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could just point back with. Our spacing was just, I mean, you could like U10 level mistakes were happening in this game.
So we brought in a new attacker. Bupenza has the street cred. He's got the international status, but what we don't have is the chemistry. And I was hoping the Leagues Cup break and the trainings and everything would bring it back. We haven't really seen it on the pitch quite yet. We haven't seen a game where Vasquez, Bupenza, and Acosta are knocking it out of the park. How long do you guys think it's going to take before these 3 gel?
2 more days. I mean, that's the hope, right? I think what I saw from Bupenza this last match, I wasn't paying attention the first game he played, but this match he was running straight lines, and Lucho's looking for somebody making that diagonal run behind the defender. When Vasquez is coming down, it looked like Bupenza was just running straight lines. The thing with Vasquez is his motion in the box, right? That's the thing that everybody talks about is he'll get in behind a defender, he'll make a cut, get to the near post in front of him, and Bupenza just runs straight ahead. It's hard to find him, is what it looked like this game. So I hope by Wednesday they click, but
I just think you see a noticeable difference between Brenner and Bupenza, where Brenner was still able to set up other players, in Bupenza that early on does not look like his game. It's I'm on the ball, I'm going to shoot 9 times out of 10, but I'm okay with that. So we'll see if Brandon can kind of get to his setup stage, what he was doing with Baji and with Santos a little bit earlier in the year. We still won a lot of games with that strategy. And in all honesty, I mean, Bupenza had some piss missiles out there. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he had some real good shots. Brandon had a good shot. Just overall, it wasn't our night. And I feel a lot better when you give Lucha a little bit more time, when you can get another body in that attack with Barreal. And I mean, we're going to play to the back of our baseball card. And really are. this past night was an anomaly.
I like that Bupenza is willing to take shots.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is something that is about this team that has ticked me off for a year now, that the guys will get it in the box and they'll just dink around with it, you know. No one is willing to just take a rip, because what is the worst that can happen? You miss. I mean, you could get some rebound goals. You're putting pressure on the goalkeeper. I like that about Bupenza. So I think it's like you mentioned, he plays different than Brenner. They're not going to have the same setup. It's going to take him a little while, but I'm not ready to panic on him yet.
No, not yet, I don't think. But do you think, for the sake of chemistry, does he sit to start this next match and put someone like Santos or Baji in, just for the sake of the chemistry that we had? Let's get something going and then bring him in late in the game. Or do you start him?
Wow.
It's a good question.
Bench DP against Messi. Oof. It could be. Brian's trying to set Pat Noonan up for all kinds of questions if that game doesn't go well.
I can see the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I do too.
All I'm going to say is, Brian, since I like you, I'm not going to jump down your throat right now.
I want to hear it, man.
Yeah, I'd have a lot more questions about FC Cincinnati if Pat Noonan sat Aaron Bupenza for such a momentous match. This is the game where you pay these guys to show the F up. And this weekend was a call your ass on the carpet moment for those front three. Now, it's all right, figure it out. You have 3 days, figure it out right now. And if those guys don't show up, I'm going to have a lot more questions, but this is their time. All three of those guys make $1 million. They're headliners in the league. Put up or shut up.
Yeah, get your head in the game too. I prefer they really, really be fired up for this one and not arguing in the locker room before the match about who gets Messi's jersey.
Do we know?
Oh, we all know who's getting Messi's jersey.
Miazga is back, but do we know if Yerson is going to be back? Did we see like a report from Laurel today, or did they?
You have to imagine he
tarot
wants to
cards
be
out.
back, right? Like he would really want to be back. He probably said, "Sit me this weekend. I want to be in for Wednesday." I hope he is. We really need him.
I think Matt Miazga is a huge addition. Mascara would be a plus, but having Matt there to organize everything, I think, will be a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
At worst case, we can send Ian Murphy out there to foul.
We just can't. I just don't want to see another situation where we're relying on Powell and Gaddis in the back. And
Okay.
I know some of you guys are saying that the defense wasn't the biggest problem in the midfield, and the offense clearly was versus Columbus. But let's be honest, I just don't think Powell had a great game. There's so many interceptions, so many.
That's what I was going to say. Is we got Arias coming back.
Yeah.
And who would you rather have? A guy who's played Jordi Alba previously? Or would you like a great Jamaican? I mean, I love Alvis, but
Alvis was not, and I'm fine with his contract extension. He's never meant to be a starter now. He was just out there because of all the injuries and whatnot to the back line.
How much do you bet that contract extension was? We're going to send the proposal to Alvis and the proposal to Ray, and whoever signs first gets it. Come on, people.
It might have been.
Well, if we sign them both, I'm going to have some questions. But
No.
I don't know. It's just, I get you need depth pieces in MLS, but with the way the league's shaping up, when you saw the moves Columbus made in the offseason, you saw the moves Miami made, and I just don't know if there's a place for, I hate to say it.
I will take Alvis Powell for $150,000 every day of the week.
But we don't know.
A lot
We
of
don't know what he was
teams-
signed for.
Several teams in the Eastern Conference did get markedly better in the transfer window. I mean, I still think FC Cincinnati wins the Supporters Shield, but it's going to be tougher. Some teams got a lot better.
Did we not get better in the transfer window?
I think that remains to be seen. To be right now, now we are holding serve. We were the best team in MLS before we made our one signing, and now we're whatever. And
All right,
now
Brian, go.
we're still on
Get him.
points. We're still the best team, but I think
Okay,
you could argue
yeah,
that
but
we held serve.
second. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm thinking you can argue that we held serve. I think I like I said in the opening, I like that we signed Pupenza. I think we really missed by not bringing in help defensively.
100% agree with you.
You can make the argument we sat pat too much, though. I'm with you, Jason. I see what you're
You
saying.
sat pat too much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying not. I mean, guys,
We
We
sat
could've-
Pat
we-
Noonan
we
on the
dis-
bench too much.
we
He needs to
decide-
play.
okay. We decided here. Let's not lose context. We decided let's go and get a full blown DP versus a young DP, which we could have added. I think you make that move 10 times out of 10. Let's give it a couple games. I mean, remember we threw 3 goals up on the best team in Mexico like 2 weeks ago, and then Nashville. Okay, yes, whatever. 1 goal.
That's good perspective.
Did Columbus and
Here's
Nashville
what,
play us very similarly? You kind of wonder after seeing the.
No, Nashville was more willing to give up possession. Columbus kept possession.
They both kept tighter lines, though.
Yeah, but Nashville was more like, here, have the ball, come get us, which is not FC Cincinnati's game. Columbus was just pressing the hell out of us. So,
yeah, in a way, we'll see if the Columbus game was good for us. And I think Miami's going to be a tough task, and you're also going to have the crisp passing, the skill of their midfield plus onward. And it's going to be an interesting one. So hopefully this is just a wake-up call and the Pat Noonan gets the guys together. Can you have a decent practice going into this Miami game? What is it, tomorrow? That's really it, right? Because you always get Monday off, and then you've got Wednesday. You're not going to do anything on game day. So how do you even get ready for this?
I hope he made him run laps.
thanks, Dad.
I had this question earlier. I was like, I don't know what we can change. Like, I don't know what we can get together besides like a motivational speech. Practice it's a 1-day practice.
Like my old basketball coach, on the line, get ready to run suicides.
I think it's more of obviously it's a head game, right? They've got to get their heads in this. I think it's a tactical change up as well. Like take a page out of Nashville's book, the way they played. I really think that Busquets is key to that game. Messi can do it himself, but Busquets makes it so much easier for him.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch what Nashville did, he was playing next to his center backs the majority of the game. He wasn't getting upfield a whole lot. He was coming back to get the ball, to dish, and he didn't play the game I've seen him play. Those through balls, over the top balls that were landing right on Messi's feet because he was playing so deep. So I think it's a tactical switch. I don't know what Nashville did to do that, but I think Pat Noonan does. I think we need to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a huge deal for guys like Lucho it's a huge deal for all of them, but for like Lucho in particular, because he plays the same position as Messi, to be out there and have an opportunity to go man on man with, the best player of all time, the best player from your home country, and hopefully show him up a little bit. So I'm hoping these guys get up for it and have that extra gear.
Well, good news. Miami only defends with 9 men, so.
And they're traveling. Well, they haven't been on the road too much, and when they have been on the road, they haven't done as well. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Let's turn the page though a little bit. FC Cincinnati is the Supporter Shield leader. They even if you're a person that thinks they're going to struggle a little bit more than they did at the start of the season, you have to be a little bit encouraged by the next spread of games. Congestion is an issue, but they've had a break. But you've got Saturday versus home versus New York City, and then you go to Atlanta, which is a mixed bag. They perform awesome at times, and then just awful other times. Orlando, Philadelphia, Montreal, Charlotte. You're not looking at like top of the table teams.
What?
You're
killing me, dude.
All the way.
New York City is 13th right now.
I know.
Which is surprising. Maybe I just haven't paid a bit of attention to
They've won one game in their last 16.
Yeah. They're struggling, but yeah, there's some I mean, Philadelphia, Orlando, those are going to be some tough games coming up.
Oh, at Atlanta on turf. We don't win on turf. Versus Orlando, always been tough. I mean, I think they have a lot of talent there. Philly's at Philly. Come on. I mean, it's going to be tough, guys. This next 5 games is going to be. I mean,
I think we do fine against Atlanta.
Oh my god. Yeah, tell me what you're drinking there, bud. We need 15 points over these last 10 matches. 15, bare minimum. So.
We had a lot of congestion earlier in the season too, and we were asking the same questions, and somehow we managed through that.
We cut through it like sliced butter.
Yeah, and now it is late in the season. We're dealing with injuries, but we made it through. Then I think we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, we've beaten Montreal already. We beat NYCFC there midweek. I don't know, man.
So
it scares me.
Let's assume we win Wednesday and we're in the Open Cup final. When is that?
That is September 26th. Yeah. So last week of September.
Okay.
In between Charlotte and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's after all this congestion here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 Atlantas. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do have 2 Atlantas.
The last game is at home versus them.
Yeah, I don't know. How many points do you think we need to win the Supporters Shield? This is way too early.
He just didn't listen to me 2 minutes ago. Just didn't hear me say we need 15
Boston,
points.
I think we need 15 points. That's what I would say.
So that's 5 of 5, right?
I think
5 of 10.
With how everything's going right now, 67 points won it last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will get us very, very close.
All
I
right,
think some people could disagree with me, but that would get us to 65 points.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a team that's doing the goals per game that we are. Or
All right.
points per game, my bad.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to reevaluate next week, we'll know the result of Wednesday. We'll know the result of Saturday. If you lose Wednesday, win Saturday, I'll be interested to see if you guys are encouraged by that or whatever. You know, I think we're expected to lose Wednesday, so if we win, it's going to be huge. But
Dude, just go get a life jacket. Go get a life jacket.
Dude, just pull up any Vegas gambling app you want to and tell me I'm wrong there.
Well, ESPN ranks Columbus ahead of us. What do these people know?
I think
like you missed the first 20 weeks of the season? Come on.
I mean, Wednesday, you've got to go. Wednesday, you've got to go balls to the wall. I mean, it's a do or die game. Obviously, I think they've just got to leave it all out on the pitch. The rest, we have plenty of MLS season to get those 15 points.
Yeah,
but it's Wednesday. I think you're going to see the team hopefully just really come out knowing that this is it. I mean, you have an opportunity to win your first trophy. You have an opportunity to hand Miami their first loss. I mean, it's a huge deal. So I'm hoping that, we see a completely different attitude than we've seen during regular season MLS matches.
Would be awfully cool to be the team, the first team to knock Messi out. I thought somebody would get it in Leagues Cup, but it just didn't happen. So
what I'm worried about is somebody like Obi or somebody slightly fouls Messi, and he points at him and goes, "Hey, give that guy a red card." And the referee does it because that's what they do for Messi.
Luckily, we're at home. It's less likely to happen.
Is it? It's pro referees.
Do we know the referee crew? Because
please, as long as it's not Ted Uncle.
Oh my word!
I'm going. Hold on, boys. By the way, Buskin Bakery printer retraction. Settle down. We do support our home team and have these cookies most of the summer. It's a picture of our orange and blue cookies. Yes, we know, but still, don't be dumb.
Is it because we outed him on this show? Is that what?
Oh, dude. Yeah, it doesn't.
I'm
have
sure
the
they're getting all
ref
sorts
yet.
of hate on social media for that.
Yeah, they are. My tweet itself already has thousands of impressions. Gotta love it.
All right. Well, Brian, if you find it, throw it in your final thoughts. We will move it down to Indiana.
Oh no, I told you I couldn't find it already.
Okay.
See, you just didn't listen to me. Come on.
That's true. I really don't. We'll move it to the other Brian for his final thoughts.
Yeah, man, I'm always hopeful. I'm always optimist here. I think the Messi train ends in Cincinnati, and I think we come away with this one. If we've got our back line in place, that's my, that's the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking. I don't know. That's if our back line's in place, I'm gonna stop talking. The Messi train ends in Cincinnati. I think our midfield plays more connected when we have leadership in the back. When we've got Mosquera, we've got Miazga back there. That's what I'm going with.
Our caboose stops the Messi train. Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
All right.
That's it. That's a
Jason,
better word for it.
You're up next.
I'm also a big train dork, so I don't want to correct your analogy. Anyway,
Oh Lord,
I'm a huge dork. Yeah, what a time to be a Cincinnati sports fan. I've talked about it before. You've got FC Cincinnati in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. You're not insulting me anymore with that. You got FC Cincinnati in the semifinal for the U.S. Open Cup, on track for a Supporters Shield. Reds are a game out in the wild card standings, and still, with a chance to make the playoffs. And the Bengals looking good. So just a really exciting time to be a sports fan in the city. And this is one of the best sports towns in America. So, yeah, choo-choo on the Cincinnati sports train.
All right, Mr. Weigel.
I didn't even write anything down for this. So I'm very excited to take my son to the game Wednesday night.
Cool.
I think I've said this 1,000 times that we've done this. We did this. We started CST to get people involved. And the whole cycle of seeing the longevity of this club and be able to experience this moment, win or lose, hopefully win. That's all you can ask for. I mean, we're going to be able to get to see the best player in the history of soccer play. And I know we're sick of the Messi talk, but that's still special. And I'm very excited that Nashville lost and their goalie keeper missed their PK, so we could be the first team to beat Messi. So, God, guys, please freaking bail us out, because we've taken enough crap from Columbus this week. Cash that check, take it home, boys.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for a great show, and our guest for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I wasn't too doomsday enough, but I went to Columbus and I got my heart broken, so I'm a little bit bummed this afternoon, guys. And so I'm trying to pick it back up. I'm trying to get on your level, and I hope to see a great game regardless. I think this, no matter what, this one won't have the gut punch, I don't think, that Columbus did. And then I'm really looking forward to New York City this weekend. I'm hoping our boys can get it. No matter what the result is on Wednesday, I'm really hoping the boys get it back on in league play pace. Saturday's a great game to regather your thoughts and beat the crap out of New York City. So we will see you next week. We'll talk about the results. Hopefully we're on cloud 9. And thanks for having